In this video, we will be looking at the properties of exponents, the product property for multiplying like bases, and the quotient property for dividing like bases. The product property states that when multiplying like bases, we keep the base and add the exponents. So, for instance, in example 1, we see we have x cubed times x squared. Since the bases are alike, x and x, we can follow the property laws. We'll keep the base and add the exponent. So we'll take 3 plus 2. So x cubed times x squared is x to the 5th power. In example 2, we see parentheses here showing that we're multiplying two quantities. We're multiplying ab to the 4th times abc cubed. Well, when multiplying like bases, we keep the base. So we want to look at the a's together. The exponent on each of these a's is a 1. It's not written, but we should understand and know that it's there. So a times a would be a to the 1 plus 1. We add those exponents. Let's look at the b's. Keep the base and add the exponents 4. And again, there's that understood 1. So we'll take 4 plus 1. And for c, we only have the c in the second factor, c to the 3rd. So when we multiply these two quantities, ab to the 4th times abc cubed, we get a squared times b to the 5th times c cubed. And let's look at one more example, again where we have parentheses showing that we're multiplying a quantity. When you have numbers and variables, we multiply each thing that is alike. So our numbers, -3 and 7, we can multiply, and we'll get -21. Our m's, we can multiply, m to the 4th times m to the 1st power. So 4 plus 1, that would be m to the 5th power. And n, again, there's an understood exponent of 1. So n to the 1st times n to the 6th. We keep the base and add the exponents. So 1 plus 6 is 7. And then for p, those like bases, we have p squared times p to the understood 1. So 2 plus 1 is 3. Now, I want you to try. Here you have 3 examples. Pause the video and restart when you are ready to check your answers. Remember, practice by yourself. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. The best way to learn math is by doing the problems on your own. So pause the video at this time and practice these on your own, and then come back to see how you have done. Let's see if you got your answers correct. For number 1, you should have gotten p to the 11th power. For number 2, you should have gotten f times g to the 10th power times h to the 3rd power. And for number 3, you should have gotten -5 times x to the 5th power, y times z to the 6th power. How'd you do? Hopefully you did well. If not, I want you to write down the ones that you missed and your specific questions and bring those to class with you, ready to ask your specific questions about the ones that you missed. Let's look now at the quotient property. The quotient property says that when dividing like bases, again, we keep the base, but we'll subtract the exponents this time. So let's look at example 1. Here we're dividing x to the 9th power divided by x cubed. The bases are the same, so we subtract those exponents. We'll take 9 minus 3, and we should get x to the 6th power. For example 2, instead of using a division symbol, we have the fraction bar showing division, and we have a's being divided and b's. Well, remember the property says that the like bases are what we can divide. So a squared divided by a, there's an understood 1 in the exponent. So we'll take a and subtract 2 minus 1. For the b's, again, we have that understood exponent of 1. We'll take 11 minus 1. And we get a times b to the 10th power. Let's look at one more example together. Here we have two terms being divided, but we also have a number included. Treat your numbers being divided like you would any other fraction and simplify the fraction. So we're going to look at the numbers. We're going to look at the letters that match in order to simplify this expression with exponents in it. Now, -5 divided by 10, I know that 5 goes into -5 one time, -1, and that 5 goes into 10 two times. So simplify your fraction just like you would if it were a number standing by itself. Now for the m's, we've got m raised to the 7 minus 2, that'd be the 5th power. And for our n's, 1 minus 1 gives me 0, so the n's cancel out. We've got n over n. But for p, we've got p cubed minus p to the 1st power, so that would be p squared. So our answer for example 3 would be negative m to the 5th power, p squared, all over 2. Now again, after looking at those examples, you should try. I want you to pause the video and restart when you are ready to check your answers. And remember, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Try them on your own and see how you do. Pause your video now. Let's see how you've done. For number 1, you should have taken p and done 14 minus 9 and got p to the 5th power. For number 2, your f's cancel out, so you should have g to the 10th power times h to the 4th. And for number 3, you divide -14 by -2 and you get 7. X to the 5th divided by x to the 4th, so 5 minus 4 is 1. Your y's, subtract the exponent, 10 minus 7, you should have gotten 3. And your z's cancel out. How did you do? Hopefully you did well. If not, you should bring in and have written down your work and bring your specific questions to class on how to answer these types of problems.